In the blistering heat of Pine Grove, where summer suns scorched the asphalt and cicadas droned like a fever dream, a single basketball hoop stood at the corner of Maple Lane. It wasn't much to look at trusted, with a cracked backboard and a net lawn replaced by knotted rope. But to the kids, it was a palace. To the parents, it was a lifeline. To the old folks sipping iced tea on their porches, it was a heartbeat. That hoop wasn't just metal and bolts. It was the soul of a neighborhood, a place where laughter drowned out the weight of the world. Maple Lane had seen better days. The recession had gutted the city's parks, and school closures left kids with nowhere to go. But that hoop? It stood defiant, a relic of better times, pieced together by neighbors with duct tape and dreams. Kids like Tommy, a lanky 12-year-old with a jump shot as wild as his grin, made it their sanctuary. Parents like VYD Carter, a tired dad of 3, found it a bridge to his kids' hearts. And folks like Miss Clara, who'd once drained bank shots in sneakers older than half the block, saw it as a memory worth guarding. It wasn't about fancy gear or perfect form. It was about showing up, about belonging. The trouble started with a letter, crisp and white, slipped into the VYD's mailbox one June afternoon. He almost tossed it, thinking it was another ad for lawn care. But the words "urgent notice" in bold red stopped him cold. Standing in his driveway, with Tommy practicing layups just feet away, the VYD tore it open. His eyes scanned the page, then froze. Notice of violation. Unauthorized recreational structure. Violation of noise ordinance. Obstruction of community appearance. Removed by June 30th or face fines. The words hit like a punch. Tommy, cheeks flushed from the heat, had just nailed his first running shot the night before, arms raised like he'd won the finals. That smile, rare and bright, was now at risk. The VYD lowered the letter, his heart sinking. The ball slipped from his hand, rolling into the street. "Dad," Tommy called, his voice small. The VYD forced a grin. "Just mail, kid." But it wasn't just mail. It was a threat to something sacred. The Maple Lane HOA didn't mess around. They didn't knock on doors or ask questions. They sent letters, issued fines, and made rules from behind polished desks. Their lawyer, Gregory Tate, was the worst of them, sharp suit, sharper tongue, and eyes that never met yours. When the VYD and a few parents, including Miss Ellen Price, a retired teacher with fire in her veins, tried to talk it out, they got nowhere. At the HOA office, Tate barely looked up from his papers. "The rules are clear," he said, voice flat as pavement. "That hoop's non-compliant. It comes down, where you pay due law $400 for removal, plus due law $100 daily fines." Ellen raised a hand, polite but firm. "Sir, this hoop keeps dozens of kids outside off screens. It's not hurting anyone." Tate cut her off. "Irrelevant. It's policy." That was the moment the neighborhood snapped. Word spread like wildfire. Sarah Miller, a mom with a knack for social media, went live on Instagram, pointing at the hoop. "What kind of person sees kids laughing and calls it a problem?" she asked, voice shaking. Thousands watched, shared, raged. Then came a post from Lisa Grant, a quiet mom whose autistic son, Ethan, found peace only at that hoop. Her photo, Ethan on the curb, head down, ball in his lap, hit like a gut punch. "This is his safe place," she wrote. The post exploded. Stories poured in, scraped knees, late-night games, kids who felt like they belonged. But the HOA? Silent. No calls, no meetings. Just a flatbed truck rolling in. 2 days later, 3 men with tools and a power saw. The VYD was outside when it happened. He didn't shout. He just stood, stunned, as the saw roared to life. The grind of metal on bolts echoed like a death knell. Kids froze mid-dribble. Neighbors stepped onto porches. Someone filmed. In minutes, the hoop was gone, Leah VYing nothing but a scar on the curb. The message was clear. The HOA wanted silence. But silence wasn't what they got. The VYD didn't sleep for 2 nights, haunted by Tommy's face's oldest, the dreamer who spent hours shooting, chasing a scholarship. That quiet heartbreak, the kind that doesn't cry but sinks deep, lit a fire into VYD. This wasn't just about a hoop. It was about dignity, about kids who needed something real. So he started knocking on doors, voice steady, no drama. "They took our hoop," he'd say. "We're bringing it back." Some neighbors hesitated, unsure. One shrugged, "It's just a hoop." That did it. The VYD looked at the empty curb, like a missing tooth in the street smile, and something clicked. If the HOA wanted a fight, they'd get one. The first spark came from Rachel Hayes, a former Marine with 2 kids and a no-nonsense glare. She rolled out a rusted portable hoop from her garage, grinning. "It's ugly, but it works." By morning, the Parkers, a quiet family of 6, dragged over a collapsible hoop. Carlos Ruiz bolted one to his trailer hitch. By sundown, 7 hoops lined Maple Lane, crooked but proud. Kids came running, sneakers squeaking, laughter rising. It wasn't just basketball, it was defiance, wrapped in joy. The HOA struck back, sending staff with clipboards and orange violation notices. But the warnings didn't scare anyone. They lit a fire. A mom from 2 blocks overtied a hoop to her car roof. Twin brothers hauled a homemade backboard. Old man Henry, a retired welder, built a rig from scrap metal. By day 3, 14 hoops stood tall, some regulation, some short for little kids, one just a milk crate nailed to a plank. It was a middle finger to the rule book, and it felt good. Every day brought a new hoop, a new reason to gather. Families studied the HOA bylaws, found loopholes, and placed hoops on public roads where rules didn't apply. No blocked driveways. No laws broken, just legal enough to stand. Tate, the HOA's pit bull, lost it. He stood on Maple Lane, megaphone in hand, voice cracking. "Your violating regulations. These are illegal structures. You're risking arrest." But he wasn't shouting into a void. He faced a wall of people 300 strong. Moms, dads, grandparents, kids bouncing balls, teens dribbling, toddlers aiming at low rims. No chance, no violence, just presence. A lone voice rang out. "You took one hoop? Here's 300. The crowd parted, revealing hoops as far as the eye could see in wagons, on platforms, one strapped to a kid's red wagon. Tate's megaphone fell silent, drowned by the thump of balls. The standoff became a movement. Channel 6 caught it on camera when an HOA officer tried to drag a mobile hoop away. 2 moms, Karen Walsh and Maria Vega, former bodybuilders with 5 kids between them, stepped in. Karen blocked the hoop. Maria stared the guy down. "This stays," Maria said, calm as stone. The clip hit Instagram, then TikTok, racking up 800,000 views overnight. The hoop revolt trended. CNN called it the Rim Rebellion. A city councilman, Jack Riley, a former high school baller, walked on a Maple Lane, sank a 3-pointer, and told reporters, "They'll have to take me down first." The crowd roared. Kids raised their balls like trophies. This wasn't just a neighborhood anymore. It was a cause. The HOA didn't back down. Tate filed for an injunction, demanding all hoops banned. Mobile, anchor, didn't matter. He ranted about noise, liability, disorder. The case landed with Judge Margaret Cole, a former college point guard who kept a basketball in her car. In court, Tate droned on about codes and clauses. Judge Cole cut him off. "Enough," she said, removing her glasses. "Your rules don't trump a child's right to play. These hoops are the only safe space these kids have. I've seen the footage. I know what belonging means." Her voice was steel. "You want to silence a neighborhood for order? This court won't help you." Motion denied. The parents in the back row exhaled, eyes wet, hands clasped. Outside, Judge Cole said simply, "Let the kids play." The VY Tory wasn't just a win, it was a transformation. The city council funded a real court. Smooth blacktop, painted lines, a breakaway rim. A nonprofit hired Coach Marcus, a former pro who turned kids into champs. The first tournament was magic, handmade jerseys, lemonade stands, neighbors who once complained now cheering. The VYD, in a ref shirt, watched Tommy sink a game winner, the crowd erupting as the ball swished through. The HOA? Silent. They'd lost more than a fight. They'd lost control. 3 months later, a plaque went up onto VYD's porch. For CIVY, see courage and defense of community. The city gave it, but the VYD said it was for everyone: moms with chairs, kids with signs, old folks with tools. Maple Lane's story spread, sparking the right to play act to protect kids' spaces. The HOA rewrote its rules. Take quick quietly. A sign by the new hoop read. This hoop stood for the children, and the children stood for it. Every swish, every laugh, reminded Pine Grove that one hoop, one small, rusted thing could bring a community to its feet, tear down walls, and make history. All it took was people who wouldn't stay quiet.